Hi folks, this is All the Fruit. I'm near the small town of Dossenheim in Germany, and here is another ancient cherry tree, maybe the most impressive one in our area. When I started looking more thoroughly for ancient fruit trees in our area, turns out that most of the really old trees here are cherries. We've always had quite a diverse fruit cultivation here in this area, but most of the trees where I can be quite sure they're over 100 years seem to be cherries. In this area there are a couple other old trees. Here you can see a garden with trees which are 30 to 50 centimeters thick. Here is another one which might be 50 to 60 centimeters thick, but none compares to this one. Look at this giant stem. It's almost as wide as it is tall. Well, I would say the stem is 1 meter 80 tall and 1 meter 30 wide, or well over 4 feet wide. What is this? What would this be? 4.5 feet for our American citizens. Well, basically you can say that the stem is about as tall as and slightly above average man, and then you can calculate how wide this is. I don't know how old those trees are. I don't know how fast those grafted cherry trees grow. Usually wild cherry trees in the forest, I've never seen them growing to that thickness, but they produce sometimes very nice and straight stems up to 20 meters, very good useful wood. While those trees in the gardens, well, they are prunes, they don't grow that tall, and the original stem of the rootstock is about, usually less than 2 meters tall, so I don't know how fast those grow. Let's look at it from all sides. It's impressive from all sides. From this one it's not that thick, maybe a meter. So here, from this side it's again very impressive. Well, this branch here died and it's hollow like a lot of those ancient cherry trees. I don't know what you can see there. I'm just holding the phone there. I cannot look into this. I'm too small. I would have to be well over 2 meters or well over 7 feet tall. Here from this side, it's standing in a very nice way in this fork in the road. Very beautiful, so a lot of hikers and bikers can enjoy it. Yeah, the cherries, they seem to be of this variety with quite firm flesh. Well, I'm sure they haven't been properly harvested for decades. Let's get one of them. Yeah, see, this one is not completely ripe, but I'm still too short to get the really good ones. Yeah, it's one of those cherries with really firm flesh. Very good for marketing. This area has actually been quite famous for its fruit and especially for its cherries since the 19th century and in the 20th century. In the late 19th and the first half of the 20th century especially, those fruit from here, they were exported all the way to Berlin, to Britain, to northern Italy. So fruit production and especially cherry production in this area was quite a big thing, and I guess that's why they grafted this tree with some cherry variety with quite firm, crunchy flesh that's gonna survive a longer travel by train. Here you also can see how the different zoning of the different zones of agriculture. Well, over there in the flatlands, traditionally we don't have a lot of fruit cultivation. Then here comes a belt of fruit cultivation, which is already a little bit, in this area it's already a little bit depleted. You can see mostly old trees, although some people plant new trees. Here you have a belt of vineyards, and then above that the forest. Why is this the matter? Well, The vineyards are in the areas with the mildest climate, so that they don't freeze, especially during the late frosts, which are so deadly here in our area. Beneath the vineyards, in an area which still has quite a mild climate, is a narrow belt of fruit cultivation, like traditionally about 100 meters. By now it has spread to a width of a couple hundred meters. The wine growing belt is usually a couple hundred meters wide. Above the wine growing belt, on the steep mountains with the quite cold climates, there is forest. And here in the big flat lowlands, there was usually grain and potato and grassland, because in the lowlands the summers can be quite hot, but the winters can already also be quite harsh. So the fruit trees, they needed a little bit more protection from the frost than the lowlands could provide. So there are areas which are like 2 or 3 meters elevated about those cold lowlands. Well, the vineyards, they needed a little bit more protection, so they were usually in areas which are a couple dozen meters above the lowlands. I even think that the lowest 50 meters of vineyards, that traditionally those used to be mostly fruit gardens. But back to this tree, one of the last cherry trees, which might even be from the 19th century. I'm not sure if it's over 120 years old. It can still be from the 19th century, from the time when the cherry boom here was, when they were exporting cherries throughout half of Europe. Yeah, here is how they used to travel back then. And this is what they used as a cash crop back then. Tasty, crunchy cherries, which were bred so that they could last through a longer, horse carriage and also railroad carriage travel. Okay, folks, so this was maybe the most impressive cherry tree in our area, in the area of Heidelberg. The cherry tree is right north of the small town of Dossenheim. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful area of Heidelberg. And don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.